Hey everybody, this is John. I had some people ask me how I mounted my reloading press onto my bench so rigid. Today I'm going to show you how I did that for my Loadmaster, Dillon 650 and 1050. On the Loadmaster I have this plate, and I guess that's probably about a 1/4 inch thick steel. I think it's maybe 10 inch by 10 inch. Now I have a case feeder on here, so I have this post and I have it welded on here, but you don't need that. So what you see here is I've got this on here like this, and this bolt goes down through. The thing is with the Loadmaster, of course, you dump the empty primers, the spent primers out through the chute, so you can't have anything here. And if you did, to get access to this, you need to have any support post under to be removable. So that's what I have here. So just to look at here again, this plate, you have a bolt going down through the front right here, another bolt going down through here, and that's right on the edge of the bench, right? And then, so what I did back here, there's another bolt here, but see it's upside down. So what I did was I actually drilled a small dent into the tabletop, and I drilled a hole through here, and I put the bolt in upside down, and I tightened the bolt right here like that, and then the head of the bolt is actually tightened to the other side of the steel plate, and the head sits in that hole that I drilled into the table. So this press is firmly mounted onto this steel plate, and then this steel plate is mounted to the bench through some through holes that go all the way through. And I had to do that because you can see here under this bench I've got this steel post, and that middle bolt would have ran into that steel post. Now, to prevent the bench from flexing, which it will flex even though that's thick plywood like that, I've got this spreader bar. I got this at Home Depot. It's called cargo bar. Now, from here to the floor might be not long enough for the bar. So what you have to do is actually take the end cap off the bar there, knock the pin out, take your axe saw and cut it off, and then put it back together and put a cotter pin or something in there. And then you can spread the spreader bar apart, and that will support the bench and keep it really stiff and sturdy. And the last thing to make sure you do is that you need to put a bracket, mount the bench to the wall. So you can use an L bracket, piece of angle on or something like that. You only have to do it in one spot, which preferably right behind the bench into a stud into the wall. Now on the Dillon 650, I also have a similar plate like this. I guess that's probably a 1/4 inch thick. I don't know, that's maybe 12 by 12 square, and a couple holes like that. These bolts go all the way through the bench, and of course the press is just mounted onto that. Now I let it overhang a bit. So as you can see here, I let it overhang. You see this is like 2 1/4 inches. I let it overhang, and then I have this plate here like that, steel plate. And this is I guess some kind of like a T-type post bar, and I just took a little piece of metal there and I welded it on and mounted it up like that. So this guy then goes to the floor and welded onto this plate. Now this plate doesn't mount like screwed onto the floor. You don't really need to. Actually, this pedestal is probably lifting the bench off the ground maybe 1/8 of an inch or something like that. So the weight of the bench is definitely on it. Now, as you can see, like I've got this much overhang on the bench, which is I've got like 5 inches overhang. And before, if I just had the press mounted to this, when you pull the lever, you'll definitely bend that tabletop. So when you mount it to a press like this, to a plate like that, and use the pedestal to support it, you'll get absolutely zero flex. A lot of guys, when they do this 650 setup, they use this strong mount, which lifts the press high off the bench, almost at eye level. I prefer this way because I like sitting down when I'm pulling on the lever. This is my setup for the 1050. Now the 1050 is a press designed to actually be standing up when you're pulling on the lever. But I also wanted this to be pretty sturdy, so as you can see here, these bolts go down all the way through the tabletop and like that. But I guess if you wanted to, you could load them or mount them like the Loadmaster, where they go up through the plate and then nut on top, and then drill a small dent in the tabletop and let the head of the bolt sit in that. And then I just mount them, 2 bolts in the back, one right there, or one right, no, none right there. Just so I got this pedestal again with that piece of bar welded on there, comes down to the floor, and then there's a plate there. And so all I've got is these 2 couple bolts here and the 4 press bolts mounted to the bench, and that's it. And that's pretty sturdy. And also, this bench is mounted onto the wall with a bracket. I got that back there somewhere. Yeah, right there. It's like a shelf bracket. And that firms up the bench pretty damn solid.